In today's video, I am going to be breaking down why Nikola Jokic is so unstoppable and is most likely going to be multiple year MVPs in the NBA. Nikola Jokic is insane. He can play any position, so let's get down. Let's check him out and see how you can also play just like him. So Nikola Jokic has fantastic footwork and has the ability to get to the rim using his size to his advantage and of course his strength. So in this first play, we see that he's posting up his player, and then what do we see? Well, first off, he's able to spin off this player. Watch this though. It's a little bit different than a normal spin. Most players, when they take a spin or when they try to spin off of a player in the post, this foot usually tries to go on the outside of the defender's foot. That way you can get a nice seal. However, he's able to spin using his elbow on the elbow of that defender. That then clears out the upper body, which then allows Nikola Jokic to have a lane to the basket, and now that defender has to try to keep up and at least somewhat contest the shot. However, Nikola Jokic has a very good ability of trying to get his shoulder into the shoulder of his defender. Now, for some coaches or referees, they may think that that is a foul. However, guess what? Technically, it could be. His shoulder did go a little bit past his foot, so technically, this could be a borderline foul. However, he also lifted up his elbow, which is the chicken wing that I always talk about. Perfectly legal as long as you do not extend your arm out, which he does not do here. That is a perfect power move that we can see even any youth player do, and that is how you can get past some players. Also, by setting screens off ball and then cutting to the rim when you notice that your main defender is sleeping on you, he's not really playing defense. If you can cut to the rim, it's called read and react, reading to your defense and reacting. You don't always have to go 100% by set plays that are called. I understand that some coaches will hate it when you move off ball like this when the play may not be calling for it. However, if you can notice that your defender is sleeping, any good coach is going to understand that, hey, you were finding an open area of the court, and of course, if you do score, it's going to also help your case. Nikola Jokic is also very good at finding open players on the court. It's actually fantastic how he's able to see that. However, he must have some pretty crazy peripheral vision because he is looking over here, and this is definitely more than 90 degrees away from him. And he's able to notice that because look at Luka Doncic. He is eyeing what's happening over here. He is standing straight up, not in a defensive stance. Nikola Jokic is able to see that, catches Luka Doncic way off guard, and helps his teammate score a three-point shot. Really beneficial having a center out in the perimeter. I love running the 5-out offense, and this is why. You can catch a lot of defenses off guard if you just look across the court usually. And let's not forget, Nikola Jokic can shoot threes like crazy. He's a very good shooter, and surprisingly enough, like look at the amount of time that's left on this clock. There is only 1 second left. He catches that ball from the inbound, steps in right left because he's going towards the left side. Especially for taller players, right left can really help elevate your shot better. He has that high set point and high release, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So here we see him take a quick jab, but when he takes that jab, it's quite interesting because usually coaches will teach you to take that jab and then move that foot around. Well, here he takes that jab and then takes the dribble before he even really brings his foot all the way around, before it plants down. Normally, you would learn when you're a kid to take that jab and then dribble when that right foot hits the ground. However, you can get an advantage on your player by dribbling earlier like this. And then when that player moves around to try to cut you off in the direction that you're going, you can then spin back around and take that shot. Now here, Nikola Jokic, instead of trying to go towards the basket and make contact, here he is trying to fade away. And I understand some coaches will dislike players fading away like this. It works for Nikola Jokic mainly because he has that high set point as it is. He's coming off of his right foot, which is something that usually you wouldn't do. However, the reason why this actually works for him is most players will actually kick that right leg out super high. For Nikola Jokic, he jumps off that right foot and keeps it underneath his body and turns his upper body so that his whole body is, of course, facing the exact same way, like if he was normally taking a shot. It's a little bit awkward, but it works for him. And then in this next play, he's able to, again, try to go up as fast as possible. You don't always want to wait in the low post to post up your defender. Here he goes up super quick, mainly because it is a transition basket. However, you don't always have to set up. You can just receive that pass, turn, baby hook, and it's super successful if you can do it quickly. Being able to use up and under fakes in the low post multiple times is also extremely beneficial, especially if you use a power dribble and a jump stop. That just makes it so much easier. So basically what we see here is, let's rewind it just a bit. He receives that ball and he gets it basically with both feet on the ground, but he uses his left foot as a pivot where he can pivot around on that foot, take that shot fake, gets the defender straight up. This is extremely important. You really want to get your defender's angles away from him. He then does a power dribble with two hands. You want to use two hands because you're allowed to. For one, to start a dribble, you can use two hands, but you cannot use two hands to continue a dribble. And then when he does that power dribble, he lands on both feet. This allows him to use either foot as a pivot foot. He takes that shot fake once again, gets his defender up into the air, pivots around so that he can have a better angle on that backboard. However, what that also does is, because that defender just jumped, he's not going to be able to jump right away anyways, so you basically have an open layup. Also, let's not forget that he is a fantastic passer. The reason why he's a very good passer is not because he's special in any way. Any player could really do this, but they just don't. So usually when you get that defensive rebound, most coaches will say, we'll look for the outlet passes first. And even myself as a coach, I used to coach like this. However, what I like to coach with now is look down court. And then as a backup, look for the outlet passes. That is the key, because if you can look down court first, you may just get lucky and have a player who's leaking out, and that will give you quick, easy points. Believe me, I'm not saying a bad coach will say look for the outlet first. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I made this mistake myself as a coach many years ago, and I don't do it anymore because I always say my players look down court because you never know who's leaking out. I'm big enough to understand that I made a mistake when I was a younger coach. I made a mistake where I used to say just look for the outlet pass, because that's how I was taught when I was a player. Look for the outlet pass. I was a center. I was 6 feet tall in grade 6. I was a big player. I got a lot of rebounds. I had one game where I had 25 rebounds, 26 rebounds I think it was, 25 or 26. Either way, you get that rebound outlet. However, now when I teach players, when I'm coaching, I coach a JV and senior varsity team. When I say get that rebound and they turn, don't just look for the outlet first. Look down court, nothing there, outlet. Or look down court, I got an open lane. Heck, I'm going to take that open lane. I teach all my players how to be a point guard. I don't care if they're a center or not. And that way we can get that ball down court fast before the defense will set up. And that way, if we can get down there 5-on-4 really quickly, hey, we can get maybe a quick basket somewhere. And that's how I like to coach. Try to rush the other team into setting up their defense. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.